Hey guys, Ramsey here. Welcome to another video. Today we have a two-part video. So the first part's going to be a quadruple unboxing, which I have no idea what any of these are. I may have an idea, but I don't know which package is which. So that's the first part. Well, that'll probably take up half the video. The second part is going to be a quick early impression on a DS Durga fragrance. So we're back into the niche realm, and this is called Mississippi Medicine. Thank you, David, for this very generous 5 ml decant, and I am going to reapply while we are sort of waiting, and it felt like that one went directly into my mouth. Oh my god. Also, this is 999th video for those of you who are big on following Channel Ram, so thank you very much to everyone who has kind of got me to this point, that we're almost at 1,000 videos. I'm thinking about doing a live stream to kind of celebrate with you guys. Maybe sometime this weekend, maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow, we'll see. But whenever I can find time. It's been a long month of July for many reasons, but excuse me. Let's get into this unboxing, and because it's going to take a little while. So the first one's this, and we shall see what this is. From one of my perfume god people. You know who you are. I don't know if any of these people want their names shouted out, so I'm just going to kind of leave it anonymous. But we have some, what do we have? We have some, yes, these are the Kriglers. These Kriglers are very hard to come by, and I'm excited to smell them. The first one's called Lovely Patchouli. Lovely Patchouli. And Krigler is a brand I've really wanted to kind of dive into for a long time. So Lovely Patchouli is a 55 night. So there's a 55 and a 55 night. 55 night, this actually came out in 1955. And it's patchouli, sandalwood, amber, bergamot, and leather. Krigler is one of kind of the old school fragrance houses that goes back much further than you would expect for one of these kind of niche fragrance houses. And so it's a house I'm really looking forward to trying. The next is called Jazzy Riviera. So let's see what this one's all about. Jazzy Riviera is Jazzy Riviera 210. I don't know what the numbers mean at the end, but this one came out in 2010. It's bergamot, cedarwood, coriander, freesia, lemon, musk, patchouli, and vetiver. It's supposed to be green and citrusy. That is exciting. And then we've got Lovely Patchouli 55, the original. This is the original one. They may have leaked just a little bit, but not too bad. Enough where hopefully I'll still be able to spray those, and there's some juice in there. Let's see, Lovely Patchouli 55 classics. There's a 55 classic and a 55 night. The classic is leather, amber, bergamot, and patchouli. I think the classic is much more earthy, but for both of these coming out in 1955, I am very excited to see what they are all about. And then we have another Lovely Patchouli 55 night. So I think that is is it the same? Yes, it is. Lovely Patchouli. So two Lovely Patchouli 55 nights, and established Cognac. This is the one from the brand I've really wanted to try. Oh, that smells cognac-y. Established Cognac. Let's see. Established Cognac from 1966. Cognac, oak, apple, caramel, and Indian Tajits. A gourmand, woody take on a cognac fragrance. So that was on my wish list, actually, for a long time. So thank you. Thank you very much, my friend. He actually emailed me today and said, hey, man, did you get the package? And so I had to kind of go check the P.O. box. So this next one is from Jared. So thank you, Jared. I figure first names may be okay, but maybe not. Let me open this without doxing myself. Okay, let's see what we have here. A box inside of a box. Let's see what's in the box, shall we? I don't know why we're using scissors today instead of handy dandy unboxing knife, but we are. Today it's scissor day. And another box. For those of you who are into the sound of opening packages, this video is for you. Okay. So, and now we have bubble wrap. It must be protected at all cost. And what are you? Speak. More packaging. Very well packaged. Fuck. All right. Oh. 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 Wow. These are awesome. So these are little like actual oud tolas. Look at that. He wrote on there $500 per tola. I don't know how much you get with that, but this is definitely enough to try. You'd be surprised how much something small like this. These are like the little Sultan Pasha samples. Siam, Thailand. This is awesome. Ocularia Crasana, 2009, $700 a tola. And Vietnam Ocularia Crescent, 2014, $140 per gram. I mean, there's a bunch of these. I mean, there's a bunch. I'm not going to go through each and every one, but you can see there is a bunch. Malayan Gold. Ocularia Micro Carrera 2023. Sweet Trot Thailand. So Trot is like, I think, the cheaper types of oud. Then we have Borneo Ocularia Malacenesis 2023, $120 a gram. Sumatra Blue Indonesia, $100 a gram, 2023. Awesome. These are all awesome. I mean, this is right up my alley. I've been in love with oud oils lately, so these will get put to very, very good use. So thank you, my friend. Very, very kind of you. Thank you very much. That is exactly the kind of stuff I've been loving lately. And then, and packaged beautifully, by the way. So we got two more. And this one is from who? I don't know. I actually don't know who this is from. Let us see. Where is the proper place to open this bad boy? I'm just gonna rip you apart, box. My anger cannot be withheld. All right, what do we have? Ah, this is another D Gray. This is a D Gray. There's a he sent me a free Palestine pin. Ram does not have any political views of the channel. So what else did he send me? He sent me these two. Strawberry Support and, wow, that is definitely strawberry. And then he sent me B166ER, which looks like the Matrix in the background. I think this is like his version of Ganymede, if I had to guess, but we'll see. So that's awesome. Thank you, my friend. D Gray E Strawberry Support. It's not in there yet. Let's see. B. It must be a new one. Let's try B1-66ER. Nope, it's not in there either. These must be new. Okay. That's awesome. Thank you, my friend. And finally, the last one on the list is this little bad boy. And then we'll hop into the review of Mississippi Medicine. Or not even a review, more of just an early impression, because obviously I don't have a bottle. I'm wearing it off of a decant that was sent to me by my good friend David, who also sent me some brilliant cigars, which I really enjoyed. And so, let's see what we have. Oh, there's a lot of stuff in here. I think this says Gucci a midnight stroll. I think that's what that says, which I really like a midnight stroll, if that's what this is. And then we have Gris Charnel Extract. Now, this one I have not smelled ever. This is like a hype beast in the community. Very well packaged. Gris Charnel. I know I'm pronouncing that wrong. Extrait 2022. Woody spicy creation by Mathilde Bijou of Maine. Cardamom fig, black tea, cistus, iris, tingitana absolute. I can't say I know what iris tingitana is. Actually, there's only 3 perfumes in the database that even use it. Bourbon vetiver, Bourbon vanilla absolute, Indonesian patchouli, American cedar, Brazilian tonka bean absolute, and sandalwood. Okay, so the Extrait won the Perfume Extraordinaire 2023 award presented by the Fragrance Foundation. Wow, that's awesome. All right, I don't know anything from that brand, so Royal Tobacco. I love this stuff. This is awesome. Thank you, my friend. What a fat decant too. What a generous decant. Thank you, man. That's the one that I would if I said if I could get one more, that would be it. I think this says Boundless, but I can't really tell. Pretty sure it says Boundless. Appreciate that. Very much appreciate that. And then we've got a couple more here. We have Burberry Antique Oak 5%, which I think I've smelled this, but maybe in a different concentration. They do like 5 up to 25 or 30%. Someone sent me, I think, some of the higher concentration juice, and if I remember correctly, that is a Francis Kirkjohn creation, and it was okay. This is Interlude Black Iris, which I like, and I will do an Interlude video one of these days. And finally, we have Tom Ford's Bois Marocain. Now, this is one that's actually really hard to find. Really, really hard to find. So thank you. That is awesome. That is awesome. Bois Marocain is, I think I might have a couple mils floating around, but nothing like that amount of juice. Bois Marocain. Nope, I spelled it wrong. Let's try it again. Bois Marocain. There we go. 2009. It says it's still actually being produced. I thought it might have been discontinued, but it says it's still available. Arborvitae, pink pepper, and Atlas cedar orper Shayamala Maisondu. The fragrance was re-released in 2016 as a limited edition. Okay, so I wonder if it is actually discontinued. But apparently it's compared to some of the incensey, woody fragrances. So I'm excited to do a video on that. And then we have Aramis Tobacco Reserve, one of my all-time favorite tobacco fragrances. I love Tobacco Reserve. That is very, very kind of you, my friend. A little bit of a half bottle to go along with my almost full bottle is a beautiful treat. And finally, we have LP number 9. I do not know what that. Oh, this is the Penhaligons. Let's see what it is. Let's look it up. LP number 9. I'm guessing this is the Fermen's version. Looks like it. A discontinued Penhaligons from 1998. Very cool. Bergamot, rosewood, mandarin orange, clove, nutmeg, cinnamon, pepper, iris, jasmine, rose, ylang-ylang, musk, vanilla, amber, and patchouli. Christian Provenzano was a perfumer, a young Christian Provenzano. It's compared to things like Opium Porom and Anarchiste. Those two don't even smell alike, though. How are both of those as comparisons? Egoist, it's compared to Egoist by some. Okay, interesting. I I have never even heard of that, to be honest with you. So that is an awesome little gift. And finally, the one that I'm maybe most excited about is this is the Les Indemodables set, I believe. Yes, it is. This is the entire Les Indemodables sample set. So we have Patchouli Noisette. I can't wait to do videos on these because I love this brand. I think Les Indemodables is kind of like the up-and-coming niche brand. So we have Iris Pearl, which I did a video on and is lovely. We have Vanille Havane, which I did a video on the channel and is lovely. We have Chypre Azurel. This is the one that I have not got a chance to smell. I haven't smelled Patchouli Noisette. I haven't smelled Chypre Azurel. Les Indemodables. Let's see. Chypre Azurel, 2016 release. Tarocco Orange. I can't say I know what Tarocco Orange is, but apparently it's some type of orange. Tarragon Ambergris, Egyptian Rose Centrifolia Absolute, and Indonesian Patchouli. Florence Foulet is the perfumer. Someone told me that she teaches at at one of the big fragrance schools now, so she's pretty well respected as a perfumer. And then Patchouli Noisette is their release from 2023. Earthy, spicy, Italian hazelnut, Sri Lankan patchouli, and Indonesian patchouli. Antoine Lee is the perfumer. Strangely, people compare it to Promise. I can't, just from that note listing, I can't see how it's going to smell like Promise, but I will give that a run for its money one of these days. Oriental Velours, my all-time favorite Les Indemodables. If you said, Ramsey, you can have one bottle, it would be Oriental Velours. I love that stuff. It is one of the best myrrh fragrances I've ever smelled in my life. And then we have Fougère Emeraude, which I'm very excited to get to know. Fougère Emeraude is a fougère created in 2016 by Florence Foulet again. And it's a very floral take on a fougère. So it's French lavender, Indian tuberose, clary sage, Venezuelan tonka bean absolute, and Moroccan mimosa. So I'm guessing it's going to be a very powdery sort of, narcotic take on a fougère. And then we have Ombre Supreme, one of the best just out-and-out ambergris fragrances that you can buy. There is a review on the channel if you want to check that out. And as I knock everything over, fuck me. Damn it, you bastards. You bastards, stand back up. Stand at attention. Okay. Two more. We've got Cuir de Chine, which I'm very, very excited about. This is one of the ones I really wanted to smell the most because I love leather fragrances. And this is a floral leather with osmanthus, Chinese osmanthus and osmanthus absolute, Turkish tobacco absolute, clary sage, and Egyptian jasmine absolute. Where's the leather? But I guess osmanthus can go kind of slightly leathery, slightly suede-like, so I'm interested. Interested in Cuir de Chine. And this is also a Florence Foulet. And finally, we have Musc de Sables, which I reviewed on the channel. There is a review of Musc de Sables. If you like musk fragrances, this is one to sniff out. Very, very good. Very, very good. Has really grown on me with that orangey, kind of almondy, musky thing. Antoine Lee did that one. So, yes, I am very excited to get to try all of this stuff. Thank you to everyone who has very kindly and generously... Oh, there's more. There's more. Rose de Jamal I reviewed on the channel. You can check that out. One of the best rose fragrances out there. And there really is a guy named Jamal, and they really did use his roses. And then finally we have Escalin Haiti and Escalin Indonesia, which I'm very excited about. Trying the cologne versions. I've never smelled the cologne Les Indemodables. So the whole sample set. What a beautiful, glorious treat. Thank you, my friend. Could not have better subscribers and friends in the community than... I mean, these are gifts. I did not ask for these. People reached out to me and sent them. And so the only thing I will ask of you is that you please have patience on me doing the reviews. As you can see, I have a ton of stuff to discuss here. There's another shelf, and there's a lot of stuff that's been sent to me. And so just please be patient. I like to live in a fragrance and really kind of stay with it for a little bit before I review it. I mean, I could just spray, give my first impression and move on, but sometimes that's not fair. I like to go a little bit deeper. So, okay, so let's talk a little bit about Mississippi Medicine by DS and Durga. And so let me start by reading you the blurb. All right, and I've got it right here. So the blurb, according to DS and Durga, damn it, I had it and I lost it. Hang on, DS and Durga Mississippi Medicine. Let's try again, Ramsey. All right, so here's what they say about Mississippi medicine. They say that it is based on the rituals of the proto-Mississippian death cult of the 1200s. Now, I know nothing about this death cult, okay? But they say it's made up of native birch tar, viola, and white spruce grounded in incense and cypress root, which sounds like some sort of weird Charles Manson drink everyone's going to drink and die after they drink it. But 50 mils is $210. 100 mils is $300. Usual DS and Durga prices. And the blurb goes on to say that Mississippi medicine is based on what little is known about the rituals of the fast-growing death cult that emerged in the southern part of the U.S. in the 1200s. Called the Southeastern Ceremonial Complex, it is more of a period within the Mississippian culture, the Mound Builders, when a specific system of religion quickly emerged. Other names for it were the Buzzard Cult and simply the Southern Death Cult, which in parentheses DS and Durga writes badass. Nothing gets me going more than a concept that seemingly mundane places, a cave, a space under a bush, a tiny lake, a gateway to the other worlds. Ancient people's understanding of the world integrated landscape, flora, and fauna into their whole being. The sacred cedar tree represented an axis mundi, a gateway between the lower and upper worlds. Mississippi medicine is rich in cedar. That is true, and we'll talk a lot about that. Dry red Virginia cedar, healthy doses of incense help marry the wood to the pine. Incense has been used in rituals since the dawn of time, which means we connect it to the religious feeling in the depth of our bones. The heart of Mississippi medicine is filled out with an accord of wild viola, no clue what that is, that could have grown by the mountains in Mississippi. Birch tar adds a primal smoke. It smells mysterious and ancient, and to the left of it is a rattlesnake that looks like it's about to bite you and kill you. So obviously they want you to think about deadly things and risque and all that stuff. Okay, but I like to kind of wear these before I actually read those blurbs, okay? And when I sprayed this on for the very first time, the very first thing that came to mind is incensey fragrance that leans slightly peppery. You basically get incense that is kind of both fresh and lemony and slightly smoky at the same time, with this sort of piney undercurrent, and lots of black pepper. The fragrance that kind of came to mind, even though they don't smell exactly the same, is Comme des Garçons Black. The reason black came to mind is because of the bottle. If you think of just look up the bottle on Comme des Garçons Black. It's literally got this black, like almost like covering all around it. And Comme des Garçons does that kind of edgy kind of packaging and stuff very well, right? But the bottle of Comme des Garçons Black reminded me of this. And if you can just imagine sort of being in the woods, and actually my ex-wife is from Louisiana, and I used to go there occasionally, and I actually used to, for work, cover the Louisiana branch for a little while. So I know the geography, I know the landscape. I've at least seen it with my own eyes, okay? I've been there, right? I'm not an expert in that part of the country because I live in Texas, but I've been there. And so once you go up from the Creole cockpit up into Mississippi, you're traveling, let's say, up I-55 through Mississippi, the landscape kind of starts to change, right? And soon you see highways cut through these really big forests and lots of trees, very kind of condensed together. Those green kind of pine trees that feel like they stay green all year just blanket the region, okay? And it's a respectable parallel kind of for what you're setting. The setting of this fragrance is very respectable if you have that in your mind, right? Woods in Mississippi would have been an easy name for this as well. In Mississippi, they actually call it the piney woods. Okay, so piney woods is kind of how they describe it around that part of the country. It feels like in those woods, like anything could be going on, right? People could be making moonshine. You could be hunting animals, you know, someone's like great-great-grandfather settled the land and built a cabin generations ago and the family's still living on that land. There's this feeling of history, you know, when you kind of see some of these woods, walking in the footsteps of the people that came before you, swimming in the same, you know, lakes and streams that they swam in kind of thing. And if you want my 1010% honest opinion, which I know a lot of you tune into this channel for exactly just that, I was disappointed in Mississippi Medicine when I first tried it. And this is only the second time of me kind of giving it a full proper wearing. But not because I didn't like the fragrance, because I do. I like what the fragrance brings. And you can see I put a respectable kind of chunk into this decant, okay? So it's not because I didn't like what the fragrance does, but it's because the early offerings of DS Durga showed me so much artistic kind of ability. Like, for example, go back to things like Spirit of the Glen, which I did a review on. Not enough people watch this review for DS Durga Spirit of the Glen. This is one of my favorite boozy fragrances of all time. I'm hoping Established Cognac will kind of challenge this, but I think DS Durga has one of the best boozy fragrances ever in Spirit of the Glen. And I said so in my review. And, you know, you think about other DS Durgas I've reviewed recently, like Amber Kiso, Bowmakers, you know, those fragrances really set a precedent in my mind for what to expect, okay? And so, you know, for me, those early offerings, which were very impressive, very artistic, okay? And it almost seems like DS Durga is a victim of the same kind of mind virus that has swept across many of these niche houses, right? Take Amouage, take Creed, take these houses that are being bought up. And, you know, it seems like the trajectory of these niche houses in the last 5 or 6 years began to shift. Things started to kind of go off the rails for houses like Amouage and DS Durga. Their early stuff, let's say pre-2018, pre-2019, pre-2020, pre-COVID, okay? Oh God, I just said the word. Now there's going to be some stupid pop-up on this video. Would you like to learn more about the facts of COVID? But anyways, so I think the niche game 10 to 15 years ago was totally different compared to what the niche game is now. Well, the reason I say all of that is because this came out in 2011. So this actually is one of their older releases. So when I saw this, I was like, oh man, this is going to be kind of in the same range as some of these others, which I've been very impressed with, okay? Go watch my review of Bowmakers, go watch my review of Amber Kiso, watch my review of Spirit of the Glen. It's a niche house that has impressed me. Now, this is the only full bottle I own, Spirit of the Glen, okay? And it's from the Highlands line, which is like a special line that they did, which they don't do anymore. But I don't really own any, but they've impressed me. So one of the things that worries me about these niche houses is they keep getting bought up. You keep hearing about all of these kind of niche houses getting purchased by bigger capital firms. And this company is one such, you know, I won't say victim, but they were a target of an acquisition. And of course, you can't say no to that kind of money. I guess when you start up your own brand and some big capital firm comes and buys it. I believe it was Manzanita Capital that purchased DS Durga. I think it was the same firm that owns Diptyque, if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me on that, but I think off of memory that is correct, okay? So the future of the house is uncertain, to say the least. So I'm most interested in going back and trying these older ones, right? And so that's the reason why I thought this was a little disappointing at first. I'm just trying to give you kind of a little insight into my mindset, because when you first spray, and you see I sprayed this 30 minutes ago, let's say now, it just feels like a heavy, peppery, incensey, woody type of creation. You get a lot of cedar in the beginning. And if I were constructing this note listing from scratch, like in my brain, which I like to try and do before I read the crazy blurb, I was expecting something crazy. I was not expecting death cult blurbs, okay? But so you reconstruct the note listing kind of in your head while you're giving it the first wear. And for me, I would have said pepper. I would have said incense, frankincense. I would have said cedar and pine. And maybe some kind of resins in the base like labdanum, okay? Because the base, which I have about a 7-hour dry down here, the base does feel like there's some sort of resiny thing going through it that you just, you know, it's not listed, but it definitely feels like there's something in there. And pine or pine resin or something like that. And that's it. Like, it sounds like it's kind of a straightforward, boring kind of composition. Right? I mean, that's for like a niche house like this, it kind of does. That's where it's like yes and no for me. And that's why I think these type of videos are hopefully helpful to some people, because yes, I think if you just sprayed this on, wore it once, didn't really look much into it, and said, okay, it is what it is, it's not very complex, and move on, you would be half right, okay? The other half of that is that Mississippi Medicine sort of earns its stripes in the way that it goes about using some of these materials, which may seem mundane. Okay, now this is just my opinion on this, but every single one of the ingredients that's used in here is not like the specific, generic, boring, just basic cedar. It's not like the basic cedar or the basic pine or, you know, I'll give you an example. So the cedar in here is red cedar specifically. Now, I have talked about a red cedar fragrance I absolutely love, which is this little bad boy, Idole de Luban. And oh, I'm going to review this one of these days. This is one of my favorite old school designers that no one, or this is kind of a niche house too, but this is the discontinued Eau de Toilette. Now they only make it in the Eau de Parfum, and they definitely don't make this kind of detail. I love the historical African mask and all the detail around the outside, but this uses red sandalwood, and you can almost see it in the color of the juice, right? And so the other thing is they don't just use pine, they use European black pine, which I must say, personally, I'm not going to stand here and tell you, yes, I've smelled European black pine and compared it to normal pine. No. But my point is that they're using different versions of these ingredients that may seem mundane at first, but there's more under the surface. Maybe like if you went and walked up to this death cult, they would seem normal from the outside, but if you were kind of inside, you would know something crazy's going on, right? That's kind of how this fragrance wears. Now, it's not just another example of an ingredient that they use that I thought was very interesting is instead of just using cypress, which is a very medicinal sort of woody note that goes very well in masculine perfumery, they use cypress root, which I looked through the database, at least in Parfumo, DS Durga is the only fragrance house that uses cypress root, okay? So when you smell it, the first time I wore it, what kept happening is that I smelled it, and I smelled something kind of like, I would say like strange, right? So half of the fragrance is very sort of boring and mundane. Not boring because the ingredients are good, but it's not a super exciting take on a niche fragrance, okay? But then there would be maybe even 60, 70, 80%, but there would be a piece of the composition that would just make me go, huh, like what is that? Is it weird? It's weird, it's kind of, I'm smelling something different. I'm smelling something earthy. Like as I was smelling earthy things, my guess is maybe that's like the cypress root instead of just cypress coming through. And there are other woody notes in here that maybe made me have that, like light bulb kind of thing going on. Like, what am I smelling? What's weird in here? There's a note of cascarilla, which cascarilla is basically a tree. They use the bark of it in Latin American folk medicine. And also alcoholic beverages, such as Campari. They create this alcoholic beverage out of it. Remember I said the beginning death cult felt like you're drinking like some poison Charles Manson told you to? So there is a little bit of that weird, maybe like poisonous drink aspect to this in one fashion. But the other part is just weird kind of ingredients you don't see very often. I've never smelled a fragrance with cypress root. I've never smelled a fragrance with European black pine. I've never, you hardly smell fragrances with red cedar. I mentioned one, but there's not that many. I think there was a January Scent Project one that I've discussed on the channel and a couple others, but red cedar's not that commonly used. And cascarilla, maybe one or two fragrances, maybe. So as I was wearing it the first time, the note listing seemed very simple. Seemed very simple and straightforward, and it is what it is, okay? But there was always that something that was just a little bit like, what is this? What am I smelling? What's a little different about this? And that's what was catching my attention. And there's little bits and pieces that I have to say you don't see very often as well, like Spanish prickly pear. How often do you see Spanish prickly pear in a fragrance, right? So the red cedar note I dug into because I was so fascinated with this red cedar note that I thought I remembered John Beeble of January Scent Project sending me some red cedar because he was like, dude, you have to smell this material on its own. Like, it's amazing. And I remember he sent it to me, and I agreed. I said, yes, it is absolutely amazing. You're spot on. But I haven't smelled it since I did the interview with him, which is like a year ago. So I pulled it back out thanks to Mississippi Medicine. And here is some actual red cedar oil. And it is literally blood red. I mean, that looks like it could easily be blood. And let me just show you guys something. Whoa, you stay right there, buddy. So let me just show you guys something. So look at the color of this. Look at the color. That is red cedar. That is pure red cedar oil, thanks to John Beeble of January Scent Project. So real quick, let me just show you that. Look at that. It is absolutely stunning as a material. It is absolutely beautiful. It's such a blessing to smell the actual material and then get to smell it in the perfume. I think there's no better way to like break down a fragrance in your mind than doing just that. So here, the red cedar gives off this very interesting like nail polish vibe, okay? And I know I've said stuff like that before about oud. And so sometimes oud will give off this lacquered wood, nail polish vibe, but this smells nothing like oud. It smells like cedar in a sense, but it also smells like there's a little bit of, maybe the red color is giving me nail polish vibe, but it's very spicy as well. Like it almost smells like there's a hint of curry with the cedar, just a little bit. And this very natural sweetness that kind of comes through, but not in any modern, disgusting aroma chemical sweetness you're used to smelling in the fragrance you'd find at Macy's or something. This is like a very natural smelling, sweet, woody note. And I mentioned Idole de Luban. It's a beautiful smell. I mean, if you've never smelled red cedar, or if you're a fragrance lover, let me just put it this way. Here's my recommendation. If you are a fragrance lover and you've never smelled some of the individual materials on its own, I'm not going to lie. I like Mississippi Medicine, but I love smelling this red cedar on its own. This is phenomenal stuff. I mean, this could be a fragrance in and of itself. It's so beautiful. And if you're not familiar with red cedar, cedar in general is used for this, but red cedar is really one of the most preferred types. If you ever buy like shoe horns or shoe trees, they call them, or whatever, that you put in your shoes to make sure they stay fresh and they don't get, moldy smelling and stuff like that. Red cedar specifically is properly used in creating those kind of shoe horns because they make a beautiful natural deodorizer. I should have grabbed some so I could show you. But, if you go to Men's Warehouse and buy men's shoes, like dress shoes or something, they'll usually have like the shoe trees or whatever they call them. They absorb the moisture. And so they make sure they make your shoes not smell bad. So I did this third iteration of my reference video. If you've been following the channel, I've been doing these reference videos where I kind of highlight a few fragrance notes, ingredients, and then say some fragrances in my collection that sort of highlight that, if you will, okay? So are a good reference for this particular note, right? And for cedar, I mentioned things like Royal Oud, jokingly Royal Cedar, and I mentioned Bloodline and Tumulte Pour by Christian Lacroix. Those were the three I mentioned. But the thing about it is that cedar is traditionally a very kind of cheap ingredient, if you will. There's a lot of other cedar fragrances I could have mentioned. Montana's Graphite comes to mind. I reviewed that on the channel when Claude Montana passed away. It was like a tribute video / review. And so cedar's a relatively inexpensive material, but this easily could have been like a Mississippi, I'm pointing to the red cedar itself, but Mississippi Medicine easily could have been like a reference cedar fragrance, but done with just a little bit of a twist. Just a little bit, okay? And so that's where, upon first judgment, I was like, okay, ho-hum, it's a woody, incensey sort of fragrance. What's the big deal? Yes, it's good quality. What's so exciting about it? And I like these type of fragrances. Don't get me wrong. I like this. I don't want to give you the wrong impression and say that, this is not high quality or anything like that, because it is. The ingredients feel of high quality. But it took me a while, it took me a couple wears at least, to really understand the artistic aspect of this. It's not as straightforward as as appearances could seem, okay? It's not as straightforward. You really have to kind of decide whether it's worth digging further in for you. Because to me, it's all about the details. Mississippi Medicine is a fragrance that is 110% all about the details. And if you're a frag head, you've smelled fragrances like this before, okay? So this is not something that is going to blow you away with its originality or anything like that. But if you're someone who likes to spend time taking your time and wearing a fragrance and getting to know it and really trying to see the little details, Mississippi Medicine has the details. That's the biggest thing. And so as a frag head, sometimes that's what keeps you coming back, are the little details. You know, did I miss this? Or really trying to kind of peel back the layers and see, is there something else underneath? What does that strange note in the base smell like? You know, what is the Spanish prickly pear note that's coming through in the base? Or, you know, the birch tar adds this kind of resinous labdanum-like feel. So in the top, you get the smoke from the frankincense. In the base, you get the smoke from the birch tar. Do they smell different? You know, does the top smokiness smell different from the base? And obviously, I think the frankincense in the top makes it a little more lemony. The birch tar in the base makes it a little more birchy. It makes it a little bit more kind of resinous, if you will, smelling. But anyways, that's my 2 cents on Mississippi Medicine. That's my honest 100% feeling on the fragrance. I very much appreciate David sending me this beautiful decant. Thank you to everyone who has sent me stuff. It's a responsibility doing the channel for you guys that I take very seriously. And, you know, I want to go deeper into FragCom and continue. There's a lot to review. I mean, I've hardly scratched the surface, and we're coming up on 1,000 videos. I bet I could do videos until the end of my life and not even get through most of them, you know? So maybe you can get most of the classics in, but stuff is constantly coming out, it's a never-ending stream. So you kind of have to prioritize where you're going to show your attention. So 999 videos in the book. Thank you to everyone for watching, commenting, liking, subscribing. I hope you guys can join the 1,000 video stream celebration, which will just kind of be me sitting here saying, okay, you have me for a couple hours. What the hell do you want to talk about? But if you guys are down for that, I'd love for you to join. So cheers, guys. Thanks very much. Catch you next time. Bye-bye.